Sundown is the sound. You know how we do. This is, of course, the Lounge Presents podcast. We're streaming on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. And if you've got the time, we're live streaming on Twitch right now as well. And today in the lounge space, damn, the funny thing, I was thinking about this as we were coming up to this. And the one thing that came into my head was, I'm a little surprised we haven't had you on earlier.
Right. Right, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
it's long overdue, but everything in its
right?
time.
Exactly. And that's the first thing that came into my mind. It was like, you know what? That's because it was supposed to happen now.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because sure, we could have we kind of actually had you on like a million times, but for 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 what you have going now, your current project, I mean, this is just so apropos. So I can ask you as an artist, you know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, there's a million projects that I've been blessed to be a part of, just talk about, but this is certainly like my most personal, um,
Exactly.
by every definition. So
I guess I was just waiting on you to do something like this. I don't
there you go. There you
know.
go.
Now, we've known each other from time. I mean, geez, we earned our salt and peppers together. We both
Mhm.
became fathers in the time since we've met. I've watched you blossom from, like we met through IC Visions,
Yep.
right? And then from IC Visions to Remix Project, and then even from going from there, man then became a TED fellow, a Yale World Fellow. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
you have blossomed into. I mean, it's not even a stretch to call you a hip hop renaissance man.
Hey,
You
I
know what I'm
love it.
saying?
I'll take that. I mean, I'll take that. I'll take that for sure.
Nah,
Absolutely.
for real, because
I mean, on a culture tip, like on a skill set, I don't know. I don't know if I can claim that. But you know, like my tag ain't that nice. I can't be boy for shit. But like, on some culture shit, I've been around. I've been
there you
self-describing
go.
lately. Yeah, I've been self-describing lately as the Forrest Gump of Toronto. I'm just kind of
that
like
that
all
kind of
these
works.
moments. Yeah, all these kind of
Nah, for
moments that I was just like, I
real,
was there, like, you know, sometimes in the foreground, sometimes in the background, just like there. And now I'm just kind of sitting here eating my box of chocolates, telling
right?
stories, like,
Damn, I never. That's actually a great analogy. God damn. Now, all the things you just mentioned, sure, I've watched you do it. I've watched you do the damn thing. I've watched you, have a hand in so many other artists' visions and projects. But it all started somewhere, man. It all started somewhere.
right.
So I've got to ask, how were you first introduced to hip hop culture?
For me, my first introduction would have been grade two. I can tell you very clearly. I
Okay.
was in French immersion, and we had this like little listening booth where you had, cassette tapes and books, and we were supposed to be listening to like French books, like. And my friend Samir, his older brother, had like mixtapes, specifically Rap Tracks Volume 3, I think it was,
Okay.
and he would bring them into class, and instead of like listening to stories about Pilou, or these other like French stories, we'd be
Yeah.
listening to like Let Your Backbone Slide, because that was in 1989 for me. So it was
Yep.
grade two. So that was like, it's kind of crazy because I feel like my generation, I mean, that was even young. Like, I don't know, like maybe it's a little older than me, but we're like one of the first generations to grow up on like Canadian rap music.
Yes.
Do you know
Yes.
what I mean? Like, people
Yes.
were listening to rap music from everywhere before that. Well, from America before that.
Mm-hmm.
But like,
Mm-hmm.
literally, the first song I can remember listening to is "Let Your Backbone Slide," Maestro Fresh West. Right? Like, that was on the mixtape on Rap Tracks Volume. I think it was 3, maybe it was 2,
Yeah.
and that's what we were listening to. So from there, like my neighbor, who was my babysitter, was like teaching us how to breakdance a little bit when he was
Hey.
babysitting us. And so like, I
Hey.
remember grade 3, we did you remember that record, the Poison, Del Biff DeVoe.
Oh, hell yeah.
So we had 2 cassette tapes or whatever, and so we were rewind, record, and we would just rewind the Poison, poison, poison,
Yep.
poison over and over again. And we did a
Yep.
rap to the school about the environment. And we like had this whole rap
Okay.
about the environment. And I was like doing the Running Man for 3 minutes, in the background. So those
Right.
were those are my introductions, you know what I mean? And then
Yo, it's
but
all
like
about that 3 minute Running Man, though.
that was cardio, bro. When you're a kid, you got different kind of cardio. But I think like the first way that I contributed to culture was like I started selling mixtapes for the older heads. So when I was in grade 9, um, there was some older heads in my high school that were selling mixtapes, and at first I started buying them, and then I was like, "Yo, I could sell these for you." And so I started posting up by the subway station, selling mixtapes, in grade 9, and then from there, a couple of us started a clothing line in grade 11 and grade 12. We had a little clothing line called Manifest, and I was just finding different ways to contribute um, as a way to like be down, basically, to earn my keep, to be around, like to have a reason to be outside, and just from sheer excitement and stuff. I think I'm someone that's always like I get excited about things, people, projects, and I like to share. I just get like excited,
Yes.
and I want other people to know about it because I'm excited about it.
Right.
And that's kind of how I just like got deeper and deeper involved, in the culture from
Right.
there. Yeah.
That is a very, very strong like feature in 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 folks like yourself. And
Mm.
obviously, I can relate. I get excited when I hear something dope. All I want to do is stand at the top of the mountain and scream about it.
Right.
You know
Exactly.
what I mean?
Yep.
Yo, for real. Do you, so man, rap tracks too. Was that like on KTEL or on Quality? One of those
I can't remember. I'll be honest with you. I just
funny
remember the
Canadian
series.
labels. Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember the series, and I know I had volume 3. I don't know if it was part 2 that was the one that we were listening to that had Maestro or not. I'll have to Google.
Yeah.
Um, but I know I owned volume 3 for sure, for a fact, because I can
There you
see the
go.
cover in my head, you know.
There you go.
Um, but yeah, those, and then later on, of course, it was like Beat Factory, Rap Essentials.
Oh
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Those became a
Yeah.
big part because that would have been still pretty young. I probably would have been grade 8, I think, when Rap
Hmm.
Essentials Volume 1 came out. And
Okay.
that project had a big impact on me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was a little later. No, that's right. Because like Dear Hip Hop, I had on a VHS tape, like Danny O and like
Yeah. Yeah.
Sunlight from YLK. And like,
Hmm.
um, I
Ooh.
remember like,
Nice one.
yeah, Who's Talking Weight, Red Life. Like
Yes.
that song had me in a chokehold.
Oh,
That song had me in a chokehold.
damn.
Like, I love, to this day, I'll listen to that record here and there. And I remember
Hmm.
we were, I was probably in grade 9 or 10. And I was by the Izzy buildings, like the Islington buildings out here, Islington and
Yeah.
Dixon. There's like a basketball court behind the buildings. And we were playing ball, a bunch of us. And one of my friends who was a couple years older was like, "Yo, is that Action? Is that Action?" One of the guys that was like down with Red Life.
Yeah.
And we're
Yeah.
like, "Yo." And he's like, "Yo, hey, yo, what up, bro? Hey, yo." And he's like throwing his arms up. And I just seen the man go like, and just dip. Like he just took off running full speed. And I'm like, yo, what is he going through? Like, we're like, but he's, like, there's no way that he thinks there's just fans out here. It was so
Nah,
young, right? Like you're
nah.
just like, they were just starting, and
Yeah.
but we were like some kids that really were into it, and we were just like, nah, man, yo, Red Life's this shit, bro. Like, and I just
Mhm.
remember this guy just dipped. Like, I was like, man, I don't know what he got going on in his life, but I hope he sorted
Right?
that out. Like, but yeah, like, I've been like just genuinely a fan and a genuine supporter of music from Toronto specifically, but the country in general,
Mhm.
and then internationally, of course, like
Mhm.
all around
Zero
the
lies
world,
told. Zero
for
lies
as long
told.
as I can remember.
Nah, you were not lying. I can bear first witness, straight up and down.
Mhm.
No lies told. Now, I'm getting the sense then, as you were coming up and discovering, the different aspects of the culture, that everyone around you was kind of discovering it at the same time as you were.
Yeah, I think that like there were certain people that were on that wave. Like I said, like some of these older heads that were DJs, like one of the guys, he was in grade 12 and he was doing his co-op at Play to Record, which is like a legendary
Yep.
record store right
Yep.
here in Toronto. And where not only were you buying records, but they were selling mixtapes, and it became
Yep.
like a cultural hub in the city. There's a great documentary called Drop the Needle,
Yes,
that's out there
sir. Shout
on
out Rob
Amazon Prime.
Freeman. Hell
Yep,
yeah.
absolutely. So, people could check that out and kind of see what that store meant to the city and still means to the city. But yeah, one of my guys was doing his internship there or co-op placement there. And so like he
Mhm.
started making mixtapes and I started selling his tapes. So he had stuff like he had like Solitaire Silver Surfer on that tape. I remember
Yeah.
um
Nice.
DJ shout out DJ Ewok. He was the guy behind it.
Yo, I remember
And
Ewok.
yeah, man.
What?
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
shit.
yeah.
That's crazy that you met. First of all, I haven't heard that name since like literally the 90s.
Yeah, for sure. For
But
sure.
damn.
Yeah,
Yo,
man.
how is he
That's
doing?
I don't know, man. I haven't seen him since high school. I'm
Right?
not gonna lie to you.
I feel like he
He
just kind of dipped.
Yeah, who knows, man? God willing, he's
Yeah.
doing great.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's like a real estate agent somewhere or something. Like,
Right? Right? Damn. Shout out
who
Ewok
knows, man?
though.
But yeah, bless him. He had some cool shit on there though. Like,
Yeah.
definitely like some Canadian stuff mixed in with the
Yep.
American stuff, and
Yeah.
that he was definitely on that wave. But I think for a lot of my friends, I was the gateway to the stuff from here. Like they were
Mm.
listening for sure. Like we were, debating Reasonable Doubt all
Yeah.
day and
The
like
American stuff. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. But like I was the one being like, yo, have you heard, this Cardinal project, like, and they're
Mm.
like, who's Cardinal? And then I remember I got like a bunch of them to come to Harborfront to see a show. And, Cardi, even then, was one of the best live performers in the entire world, right? Like
Whew.
no one could talk to that guy on a stage,
Mm-mm.
like
Mm-mm.
he
Mm-mm.
really is next level. But he had my whole block being like, clack, clack, reload, clack, clack, reload. Like,
Yes.
and
Yes.
yeah, I had a boombox. Like I had like a little stereo with like, C batteries that I used to carry with me on some old school shit. And I used to
Nice.
walk with that little stereo and I had that tape, that very first album. Was it I and I?
Yep. I
Yeah,
believe it's I,
yeah, and then my
which
boy took it, and I had to go get another one. I got that album like 3 times over the years, but, like, we used to play that shit to death, but I was definitely the one bringing that down, and then, like, Citizen Kane's album and, like, all that kinda stuff, like, Mathematic, I was a huge Mathematic fan, I was putting a
hey,
lot of
big up
guys on the map.
Matthew.
Yeah, like, you know, um, and, of course, Ghetto Concept, one of the homies,
Oh
like,
yeah. Whew.
his sister used to date one of them type shit when we were in grade 9, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So it was
Yep.
like
Yep. Yep.
we were all kind of like tapped in through that, but I was the one really championing the music. And then I started chilling with some b-boys a little later, like maybe like grade 11, grade 12, and they started
Okay.
introducing me to some of that. And that was when I first like would hop the train and go all the way out to the east side. I'm a West End guy, so I was like literally by in between Islington and Kipling Station, Kipling being the
Hmm.
furthest west station in Toronto. And we go
Hmm.
all the way out to Scarborough Town Center, so past Kennedy, the last station on
Yeah.
the east line.
Yeah.
And they had a rec room in the community center there where everyone would practice. And so we would go all the way out there. I'd roll with these guys called Skills to Kill. And then they would link up with the Supernaturals out there, which they eventually, I
Hey,
think, like folded into them. But I remember then going to like Comfort Zone for my first b-boy battles, hopping the
nice.
train with these guys, like
Nice.
just kind of living that whole experience, but yeah, man, like definitely tapped in, like you said, kind of on a level of like just being around everything, like other
Yeah.
friends, like being graffiti artists, and we'd leave like a party and they'd go bomb like some alleyway somewhere, and I'd just be like drinking a 40, watching Six type shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because I can't
Yeah. Yeah.
draw, but like
Yeah.
I just wanted to like contribute. So I'd be like, all right, let me hang out, and my mom's an artist, my father's a writer. Like I just was always around storytelling and culture and music and like art and like just kind of grew up within it at home on one level and then outside on another.
I'm so glad you brought that up because I was just about to ask you what was being played around the home when you were growing up.
Yeah, it was a lot of like the Beatles for sure. My dad's a huge like Van Morrison fan, Joni Mitchell.
Okay.
Um, it was like great storytellers, Bob Dylan, like great storytellers.
Hmm.
Um, but it was very like white hippie
Yeah.
music. That's who my parents were. Like my mom lived on a commune for a year, like after
Oh,
high school,
damn.
like
Okay.
yeah, like Friday, she's a painter and worked in the library part time, and like my father's a journalist. So like, like Friday night, she would hang out with all her friends, and they'd hire like someone to do like a nude model and do painting, and they would just like smoke weed, drink wine, and paint Friday
There
nights,
you
and
go.
I'd have pizza night with my dad, and my sis, and
Your dad, you mentioned your dad was a journalist?
Yeah. Journalist at the Globe and Mail for most of his career, and then ended up as an editor, columnist and editor at Maclean's, and finished his career at CBC in politics and health primarily.
Gav, why do you, okay, you hearing that from you now, okay, it all makes sense to me now.
Right,
It all makes sense to me
for
now.
sure.
God damn.
Yeah. And music, like for them, was a way of communicating. Like they would do this infuriating thing that I now do where they would like I would ask them a question and then they would like sing a lyric back to me as the answer. You know, like it was almost like parables, but they were from songwriters. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like they
Yeah,
would
yeah,
just
yeah.
yeah, give me a lyric or a line of a song or something. And I'd be like, oh yeah, okay, cool. I get it. And that's how I learned, you know, and now it's how I've like then internalized a lot of like messages and wisdom. You know, it came from like them dropping song lyrics, and then as I got older, me listening to music that had messages, you know, and things that I could learn from.
One thing that when you come to mind when I think about your position in the culture and your role in the culture and in the industry, I very much think of you as like a compass, because I feel like you show people where the North Star is, and then you help them by showing them how to navigate the way to whatever their North Star is.
It's really
Now,
beautiful. I'm gonna need that as a quote for my press kit.
nah, for real. That's literally, like I said, we've known each other, from time,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
after seeing everything you've done, like that's automatically the first thing I think of when I think of you. And yo, compass. Now, that bears a lot of responsibility on your shoulders, and obviously you've already indicated, that you wanted to always help build. Now, what do you think that desire to help build come from?
I think it comes from it does come from my parents. It comes from my
Okay.
folks in terms of just like watching, you know, how they
Yeah.
contribute to community and how they show
Yeah.
up for community and how they help people um in so many ways. So I think it definitely comes from that. I think the other place of where it comes from, you know, if I'm being brutally honest, is like trying to find my own place in the world, you
Right.
know, and just like finding my place by contributing, you know,
Yeah.
especially as like a white kid in black music, you know, and black
Yeah.
culture primarily, you know,
Yeah.
um like trying to figure out like where is my place, how do I contribute, what's the right way to contribute and move through the world and like yeah, just like, you know, uh, just be around, you know, like why
I
am I
hear that.
here? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And trying to figure that out. And I think that those are like the starting points. And then it's evolved into like, well, this is just who I am, you know, at this point, you know, it's the way I move
Yeah.
through the world and it's like hardwired in. But like when I was first like finding my way, it was like almost like having to justify why I'm here, you know?
I hear that.
And and I think like yeah, I've heard a few people kind of talk about things like that too, where you know you're just like yeah, you're just kind of just kind of trying to figure out who you are and you know how you get involved in something and but like even, especially with hip hop culture in that
Yes.
era, it was
Yes.
like you had to do something.
You
You
had
know
to
what I
get in
mean?
where you
Like
fit in.
yeah, but you also like you were expected to do something.
Yeah.
It was like oh, you're part of this because it wasn't like mainstream pop culture yet. It was
No.
definitely on its way, you know, for
Hmm.
when I got involved. You know, like I'm an 82 baby. I'm not like a 74 baby. So
Hmm.
like it was on its way for sure.
Yeah.
But it was expected that you did something. Like if you were at the party, because it was niche enough and small enough of a community where it was like if you're
Yeah.
at the party at Comfort Zone, hanging out after, it's like, what do you do though? Are you like a graffiti writer? Are you a b-boy? Are you a
Yeah.
DJ? Are you an MC? Like,
Yeah.
how do you fit into this culture? You know, and I'd be like I'm like what it doesn't have right now. I'm a fan, bro, like you know, and that wasn't good enough, you know, and so it was kind of like just trying to figure out like all right, so if I'm not an artist but in any of those categories, what do I do? You
Right.
know, like why am I here? Like, and again, going back to just getting excited about things and thinking people are brilliant and work is awesome, and
Yeah.
then wanting more people to know about it because feeling like, well, they should know about it because look how great this person
Exactly.
is, you know?
Exactly.
And it
Yes.
just kind of snowballed from there.
I love that, man. I love that. I love the way you put it. The whole, you know, bringing back to back then, because you'd walk into a spot, regardless of which market you're in. You walk into a spot, and you know where you gravitate towards. I mean, you might see some like, hot gal dem or something, sure, but you're gonna kind of gravitate towards, yo, are there other like-mindeds in here that I can build with?
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, I love it, man. I love it. And through all of your travels, and through all of the work you've done, and all of the projects you've had a hand in, it's taking you to this place where you are now able to express yourself as an artist.
Mm.
What inspired this? What inspired City Kid?
So it came from a couple different places, but like the actual writing came from a character that I created, and it was like actually a character that lived on Twitter
Right,
years ago, like 2011, 2012, 13, 14. And I created this character that was living on Twitter and like contributing to the conversation in real time, but in character, and creating stuff like making DJ mixes and doing lyric videos for Saul Williams and like, but all the while I was in the background, like writing this web series and then a short film and then working on like a television idea that the plan was to like eventually be like, surprise, like this character is actually a character because nobody
right.
knew that they were a character. Like they thought it was a real person. Even good friends of mine was like, oh, that person's dope. When do I get to meet him?
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, so and I did. I rolled out the web series. I did do a short film, and I'd planned on doing this kind of zine, of quotes, from these tweets that I'd put together or that I'd written, and with an illustrator who's a friend of mine, was part of the original brain trust of like that whole movement. This guy TG, um, who like was in Remix in the early years, then became like the lead designer at Remix, then became a lead designer with Legends League, and then went on to become a designer at OVO, and then became the brand manager at OVO. Ended up doing like the Murakami collab for them, and like uh, October's very own Drake night at Raptors and the courts and all, just like having unbelievable success. But at the time, we were just coming up,
Yeah.
figuring shit out.
Yeah.
And he was sketching stuff and always being the visual identity to me being kind of the words and the story.
Okay.
And the book part never came out. It was just like, life took us in different directions. We had a bunch of projects going on that were
Yeah.
all cool shit, but that just never happened. And, years later, I did a podcast called The Manager's Playbook with Ruiz. And like, he was sending me all these collab posts. I'm posting all these posts, and I was just kind of figuring out what else can I put up right now. I got all these eyeballs on me. Like, I haven't been outside in like 3 years. Like, there's nothing for me to post about, outside of
Yeah.
my some projects that I'm working on. But I was like, what can I put up? And I remembered these illustrations I still had. And so I was
Okay.
like, let me put up a few of those, man. There's some cool quotes in there, some cool lines. So I put up a few. And my friend Jermaine, who runs a really great publishing company, it's a new company, but it's my book is his sixth book. So it's been around for a little bit, but it's relatively new, and it focuses primarily on art books. And he's another guy that comes from the music industry. He managed Prime Boys for a long time.
Okay.
He was part of Murder Beats' management team, that whole movement. So,
Okay.
but he stepped away from the music game and was like, I'm going to start putting out books. And I was like, that's fire. Like,
That is
cool.
fire,
And
actually. That's
yeah,
straight up
and
fire.
like art books, and his taste, he's got great taste, and like I really like the choices he makes. And anyways, and I've been promoted, like every time I see him drop a book, I'm like sharing it, promoting it, whatever. And so he saw me post some of these illustrations, and he's like, yo, what is that shit? And I'm like, oh, it's this thing me and TG did. He's like, yo, take that down, bro. I'm putting that out. Take that down.
Ha.
And I was like,
Okay.
okay, bet. Like,
Damn.
and so I took it down, but I was like, yo, this character hasn't existed for like a decade. Like, I don't, I'm down, but like, what is the context of this project? Like, what is it exactly? And so I started thinking about it, and from that era, like I was always walking downtown. I'm like, well known for just walking everywhere, right? And I would always
Yeah.
like hashtag city kid and hashtag strolling, and it would be
Yeah.
city kid strolling. And people would say that to me. They'd see me outside and be like, city kid strolling. Like, yeah, whatever. But I was like, okay, city kid. And when I was looking at like all the writing, I was like, these are kind of like field notes, from that generation. It was like field notes for like just living in the city. You know what I mean? Like you'd have these
Mhm.
like I'd read these things like Letters to a Young Poet back in the day, like by Rilke, or like Letters to a Young Contrarian. There's a whole series around it um, that were really cool, where it was like letters from this OG writing to a younger person, that's entering into the field that they're entering into, or just into the world.
Mhm.
And there'd be an exchange of them back and forth. And so I started thinking about it as like city kid, survival guide, like the field notes is like a survival guide, how to move, how to operate, like little gems, trying to figure out your place in the world, and like how to
Yeah.
just, again, navigate, whether it's street shit or whether it was life shit or relationships or whatever. So I was like, okay, it's a city kid survival guide. And then I was like, but like, why am I doing this? And I, like, as you said, we became fathers, you and I, and in our own rights. It's not together, but
No, no.
yeah, but
Jeez.
I was like, oh, letters to Idris, like letters to a young poet, like letters to Idris is my son's name. So I was like, letters to
Yeah.
Idris, like City Kid Survival Guide, letters to Idris. It's not a children's book
No.
by any stretch of the imagination. It's funny because people see that and they saw a little promo with him and they're like, oh, I'm going to get this for my son. And I'm like, um, get it for yourself, and like, and maybe to like,
When he's
for your
older.
son to read when they're older. And that's what I
Yeah.
want. I want my son to be able to read it when he's older,
Yeah.
and like
Oh, hell yeah.
turn some of these ideas around, but also at the same time, like maybe just understand who his father was a little bit more,
Yeah.
in a different way. So that's where it came from, man. It came from this like transmedia art project that I did do a bunch of cool stuff around, but then kind of put to bed. And but like a lot of like the writing was like, it was universal. Like it's about
Yeah.
life experience. And the one thing that I've learned is that the human condition is the human condition is the human condition. Like technology changes, but our basic motivations, the shit that we go through, is very much the same for thousands and thousands of years. I feel like
Yep.
it's just like there's a different backdrop, you know what I mean? Or there's a different technology that's communicating certain things. But like the the basic premise of who we are as humanity, the shit we struggle with, like, there's a blueprint to build a cell phone. Someone could like come up with a concept in Japan, and then someone else could be in Germany, or someone else could be in Toronto, and they could look at this blueprint and they could build a phone. But
Yep.
like thousands of years, and we still don't have a blueprint on how to get over a broken heart. You know what
Facts.
I mean? So it was like just trying to put these field notes down about like getting by, making it, like living and navigating a big city, whether that's Toronto, Winnipeg, Montreal, New York, LA, Atlanta, Paris, London, Accra, Johannesburg. It don't matter, because the human condition is the human condition is the human condition.
I love how your son plays a part in this, in the fact that you look forward to one day him being able to read this and learn from it and get a better sense of who you are as a
Mhm.
person. Obviously that resonates with me like a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So when you
Yeah,
said that, I was like, oh fuck yeah, whew, that's that shit.
that's dope, man. I'm glad it resonates with you. I mean, it's going to, like, the real ones are going to understand it, and that's who it's for. You know.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Now the book is out now, right?
It is. It came out last Friday, which is crazy. Like we did a pre-launch event on the Monday and damn near sold out
And
the
went
entire first
well.
run. Yeah, it
Look at
sold out
you.
the first run. Like we were supposed to press 100 books because the thing was called 100. So we're just going to do a limited run. And then
Yeah.
we noticed the pre-sale was going so well, so we printed 200 books. And then on the Monday night, at the end of the night, we had 12 books left out of the 200, and we are like, shit, the official pop-up's Friday. what are we gonna do at the official pop up? Like, we don't have enough books, man.
We did too
Uh,
well. Goddamn.
yeah, I had to take some. It was a great problem. I had to take some back from my friends and be like, "Yo, I'm gonna get you on the re-up." Like, I'm putting mine out too, like my own
They're
personal
gonna
copy.
understand. They're gonna
Yeah,
understand.
no, they did for sure, for
Oh yeah,
sure.
for
So
sure.
I
Most
got a
def.
great community, and so yeah, but we re-upped and we have sold, I think, 58 copies of the re-up. So, we're already like we re-upped another 200. So yeah, man, it's moving in a beautiful way. Like now it's going to be slower because like all the early supporters have supported. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, so it's
Now you
like,
gotta
okay,
get on your
now
marketing.
now it's the grind. Now it's
Now
the
it's the
grind.
grind.
But
Yeah.
I'm about to go do like a talk at a university in Ottawa, and then I got a
Sick.
bookstore. I'm doing a pop up with City Fidelia, who's a phenomenal recording artist,
Dope.
and
Dope.
basically the mayor of Ottawa. Everyone calls him the mayor, and rightfully so. Like he's
Nice.
so tapped in and such a good human being, but also happens to be a dope fucking artist.
Yeah.
So we're going to do a conversation out there at the bookstore, Octopus Books, and then I'm going to come out to Calgary. I'm doing a pop up out there and a conversation with Dreezus and some other folks
Nice.
in Calgary.
Nice.
And then I go out to LA
Hey,
and we're doing something with the Walk Good Yard. We're going to do a
nice.
Read Good session, and then my brother Nick at True Studios, and then I'm in Chicago doing a pop up in Chicago at Soho House, or talk at Soho House, and then a pop up at a bookstore. So like we're
Sick.
moving, and then New York actually
Dope.
after that. So like we're moving around. Like I'm really pushing it, using all the things I learned in the music business all these years, right? Like releasing independent records and just kind of applying them to this book right now, and like taking pages out of that and just like being like, all right, man, you've been complaining, like I'll be like, damn, this artist ain't posted enough on social media. This artist ain't. Now I'm like, shit, I can't be a hypocrite. I got to make sure I'm like
Yeah.
building a strategy. I'm following the calendar. I'm
Yeah.
like, like, oh, yo, man, don't be a hypocrite. That's the one thing I hate, like, fuck, you be a lot of things, man, but don't be a hypocrite, like get
Straight
this shit
up.
together. Make sure you get it right. Like, you can't be complaining about artists and then my own project isn't buttoned up. So, but no, we're on it, man. It's a lot of fun.
Man, I'm really happy to hear that. Okay.
Appreciate it.
Up to you, man, because you deserve this, Regin. You deserve this.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you. It's still a very awkward thing for me to take that type of energy. But I appreciate that type of energy. You know what I mean? I genuinely do. I was saying on after Monday, like my social battery was on E, but my cup was full. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's I feel very awkward accepting praise. It's just something I've never been good at. Or even support, not even praise, just like accepting support. I think partially I don't know. There's a lot of reasons, self-worth, and which is like a funny thing to say because people are like, what? But also, I think like for so long being the person that other people depend on and that other people look to for
Yeah.
stuff, and then when it's time to like ask for something, you're like, can I ask though? Because like they like it should be like obviously because people have
Yeah.
asked you, so you could ask them.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
that's what it means. Like you're actually supposed to do that. Otherwise, who the fuck do you think you are? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You think you're too good for help, but you can help other people. Like
Yeah.
it's actually like I had to kind of like give myself that talk, where it was like, nah, bro. But there's at first the initial reaction was just like, no, I'm the one that people ask help for. I can't be asking other people for help. Like they're gonna be they might look at me as like either like weaker or like I'm going to be infringing on them or I don't want to take advantage of them. I don't want people to think that they owe me
Oh,
something
for
because I
oh,
did something
oh.
for them. You know what
No,
I mean?
that's
Because I did it
straight
out of
love.
love. I didn't do it out of like,
Yeah.
you owe me in the future type
Yeah,
shit.
that's not how we
Um,
play. Nah, that's not
no.
how we
So
play.
but I had to get over that too, where I was like I said, that dialogue back where it was like, but no, are you too good to ask for help? Do you think you're better than the people that ask for help? You know what I mean? And that's
Yeah.
what kind of put me back in the right mindset because I'm like, no, I don't think I'm better than people that ask for help. I know I need help. So
Yeah.
yeah, okay, I'm gonna ask for it because otherwise I'm putting myself on a pedestal that I shouldn't be on. You know what I mean? Like
For
that's an
sure.
ugly place to be.
Yeah.
Like you're removing yourself from people. What do you think you're better? You think there's some that's like an elitist attitude, And I
Yeah.
realized like,
Yeah.
oh, that's what I thought that I was doing the opposite by not wanting to like drain resources or be a burden or like just
Yeah.
like make someone feel like they owed me something. But what
Yeah.
I realized is I was putting myself on a pedestal when I was actually part of a community.
I hear that.
You know?
God damn, I hear that straight up. And you bring up some really salient points. Those are very real feelings. You know
Mm.
what I'm saying? You obviously
Yeah,
know. Like those are very real feelings that sometimes, we have to wrestle with.
yeah,
That's
absolutely.
just that's just the way it is. But no, man, seriously. Like I love the fact that it's got such great momentum off top because I know that you've got the know-how on the marketing tip to push this. Now, being that obviously you're a great public speaker, but how does it feel now kind of being in that role where, oh, yo, yeah, now we are interviewing Gavin?
Right. Yeah, it's funny, man. Like, because usually I'm talking about someone else or
Yep.
like remix project, the organization.
Yep.
And that's
Yep.
it's a lot easier because you're like bigging up other people, even when you're talking about
Exactly.
things that you've done.
Yeah.
So for me, like it feels it doesn't feel awkward anymore because I always redirect the conversation. I do talk about myself. I'm honest about like my upbringing and my motivations. Um, but I do try to always like bring the conversation back to like passing on some kind of information. Like whether that's like some technical shit on like how to actually like release a record or whether it's like or marketing stuff or whether it's like navigating life or just like helping someone maybe find their own footing, somewhere or whatever. So I think it feels good in that sense, like I do feel like I'm still contributing.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I don't think it's possible for you to not contribute, Gavin. I'll be perfectly
Right.
honest. It's
Right.
just in your DNA. I just can't
Right.
see. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I know.
For
You
sure.
know.
It's pretty hardwired at this point.
I'm saying, right, and I think you can agree with me that from now until like we're done and gone, I think we kind of know who's gonna still be around when we look around like 30, 40 years from now. I think we know exactly who we're still gonna see. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. I always
straight up.
say like that's at this point, like people are like, yo, I can't believe you know this person, you know that person. I was like, bro, it ain't an Illuminati. It's like we're just the last ones left, man. Like,
Yeah.
like there used to be in New York, they had the downtown 500, and that was
Yeah.
like Basquiat and that whole movement, right? And it was
Yep.
like
Yep.
they used to say, oh, it's the same 500 kids at every party, at every
Yes.
gallery, at
Yes.
every like show. It's the downtown 500. It's the scene. And so Toronto, I used to say, oh, we're the downtown 250.
There you
It's the
go.
same like 250 kids, but it's like
Yeah.
we're down to like 25. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
everyone else
No, for
like
real.
got a different job, left a life, like got
Life be
killed.
lifing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Life be
went to
lifing.
jail, got deported, like whatever the fuck,
Yep.
But
Yep.
like there's like 25 people left, and we just kind of we just have history in common. We
Yes.
have reference points, where we might even be that close, but we have reference points that tie us
Yes.
together. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? And that build that bridge and that bond. And also because you're still here and I'm still here, then clearly we execute and we get shit done. And so we just kind of know like you can call this person and you can trust them,
Exactly.
like
Exactly.
yeah.
Yo, zero lies told, dog. Zero lies told. Man, I'm really glad we finally got to get you into the lounge space. You know what I'm saying? But
Absolutely.
I mean, like we said at the beginning, obviously this was when it was supposed to happen, and I wouldn't
Yeah.
have it any other way. But I sincerely hope it's not the last time we get you in the lounge space.
No, definitely not, man. And I genuinely like with all the love to everybody else that I've done an interview with, but like I'm genuinely just like, oh man, great. I didn't have to tell the remix origin story for the 17th time. You know what I mean? Like that story's out there. You can go
Yes,
find it so many places. Like,
yes,
let's talk about some other shit. Like, cool. Like,
yes.
so thank you, for for doing that and for like creating space for us to have this
Oh,
conversation about just life. You know what I mean? Because that's ultimately what this project is about. It's about
exactly.
navigating life and figuring shit out. And I appreciate you creating this space for us to do that.
Brethren, trust me, there's no way I was going to ask you about Remix Project.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. No, I appreciate it. I do.
No, for real. Thank you again for spending time with us. 'Cause I know you're at TIFF right now. You know,
Yep.
you dipped out of the theater to do this with us, and obviously
Yep.
your time is appreciated. So we'll let you
Nah,
get back
man.
to it.
Real city kid shit. We're outside, man. We're
You
outside. Real
know,
city kid
you
shit.
know. God
Yeah, bro.
damn. Yo, Gav, thanks again, Bridgen.
All right,
Until we
man.
get you back in here again, we'll always still be in touch. All
Absolutely. That's without question. All right,
right.
brother.
Enjoy the rest of the festival, dog.
Thank you, man. Ciao.
All right. Peace.
Peace.